What up, my Padawans? This is Alejandro at Pop Culture Jedi. We're going to be examining some questions that were brought up in the last episode of Game of Thrones, Season 7, Episode 5, Eastwatch. If you haven't caught up with the show yet, if you're new to the show, if you just don't like spoilers, major spoiler warning, we're going to be talking about some stuff that you don't want to know if you don't like spoilers. If you like spoilers, hey, come on in and join us. We're going to check some stuff out. Let's go. So the first big question from this episode is Cersei actually pregnant? We're going to find out right now. If you guys recall Season 5, Episode 1, The Wars to Come, Cersei, when she was a little girl, received a prophecy from a wood witch. Let's go check that clip out right now.
I said that you were terrifying.
Not terrifying. You're boring.
You don't know what I am.
I know you're a witch, and you can see the future. Tell me mine.
Everyone wants to know their future. Until they know their future.
This is my father's land. My land. Tell me my future, or I'll have your two boring eyes gouged out of your head.
Blood. Give me a taste.
Alright, so real quick, right off the bat, the first thing we notice is that this wood witch is using blood magic. Very similar to the blood magic used by Melisandre and the other red priestesses of the Lord of Light. So we know that the Lord of Light's magic is true. We've seen it work time and time again. Blood magic seems to work, so we can kind of assume that the stuff that's going to be foretold in this prophecy is probably going to come true. Alright, let's go back and check it out.
Three questions you get. You won't like the answers.
I've been promised to the prince. When will we marry?
You'll never wed the prince. You'll wed the king.
But I will be queen.
Oh, yes. You'll be queen. For a time. Then comes another. Younger. More beautiful. To cast you down and take all you hold dear.
Will the king and I have children?
The king will have 20 children. And you will have 3.
That doesn't make sense.
Gold will be their crowns. Gold. Their shrouds.
The Wood Witch allows Cersei to ask only 3 questions. The first question she asks is, when is she going to marry the prince? At this point in time, Cersei's been promised to be wed to Prince Rhaegar Targaryen, Daenerys' eldest brother. She ends up marrying Robert Baratheon later. And that's the king that the Wood Witch is referring to when she says, the king. Cersei's second question is, well, if I'm marrying the king, will I be queen? Always wanting to be queen, Cersei, you need to slow your roll. The king that she thinks is referred to in this prophecy at the time when she's 12 years old is the Mad King. So she's totally cool with marrying the Mad King as long as she becomes queen. The third question she asks is, since she's marrying the Mad King, will they have kids? No, because she doesn't end up marrying the Mad King. The king that the Wood Witch is referring to is Robert Baratheon. Robert Baratheon has 20 kids on his own, and Cersei has 3 kids with somebody else. Technically, they don't actually have kids. He has 20, she has 3. Only one of them survives. Go Gendry. This prophecy has been spot on from the beginning. The only thing that is kind of iffy and up in the air is whether the queen has replaced her or not. There was a younger queen that came, but we all know how that ended for Marjorie Tyrell. There is another queen, though, on the horizon coming, and I think that's the queen that's being referred to in this prophecy. So what can we figure out from this information? I think Cersei is pregnant. I don't think she's lying to Jaime, but there's a catch. I think she wants to terminate the pregnancy because this prophecy has been so prevalent in Cersei's life. It's been something that's been motivating her, driving her, and like constantly in the back of her mind. She's aware of the fact that she's only going to have 3 children. Her being pregnant now means that she won't see this pregnancy to its end, or this baby won't make it out, and either way, that's a health risk to her. What do we see in this last episode that tips us off that she's going to terminate this pregnancy? Jaime goes to see Cersei. Qyburn's in there. And what do we know about Qyburn? He's the medicine man. He makes the poison. He can bring people back from the dead, apparently, and make them into like basically like whites. The only reason she's telling Jaime this information is to keep him around because he's hanging by a thread. In fact, I think this is going to be the thing that ultimately causes the prophecy to truly be fulfilled. So the other big question from this episode is, why is it a big deal that Rhaegar had an annulment? Let's go ahead and watch this clip real quick, and then we'll go and see some other clips.
What does annulment mean?
It's when a man sets aside his lawful wife.
Maynard says here that he issued an annulment for Prince Rhaegar and remarried him to someone else at the same time in a secret ceremony in Dawn. Is that a common thing in the South?
Okay, so the first thing that we learned from that clip, Rhaegar had an annulment. Huge. He was originally married to Elie Martell, who's the sister of the Red Viper of Dorne here. Remarried during that same ceremony, according to the book that Gilly was reading. The thing that we don't actually hear is he was remarried to a woman, but we don't hear her name. But the show gives us clues to who this is for a very long time. And if you don't remember, I'm here to remind you. Let's check another one out.
Your Aunt Lyanna.
Father never talked about her. Sometimes I'd find him down here lighting the candles. He says she was beautiful.
I saw her once. I was a boy, living with your mother's family. Lord Went held a great tourney at Harrenhal. Everyone was there. The Mad King, your father, Robert Baratheon. And Lyanna, she was already promised to Robert. And you can imagine what it was like for me, a boy from nowhere, with nothing to his name, watching these legendary men tilting at the lists. The last two riders were Barristan Selmy and Rhaegar Targaryen. When Rhaegar won, everyone cheered for their prince. I remember the girls laughing when he took off his helmet and they saw that silver hair, how handsome he was. Until he rode right past his wife, Elie Martell, and all the smiles died. I've never seen so many people so quiet. He rode past his wife, and he lay a crown of winter roses in Lyanna's lap, blue as frost. How many tens of thousands had to die because Rhaegar chose your aunt?
Yes, he chose her. And then he kidnapped her and raped her.
So we learned two crucial pieces of information from that clip. The first thing we learned is that Rhaegar won the tournament at Harrenhal, and he gave the crown of flowers to Lyanna Stark instead of his wife. And the second thing we learned is that most people in Westeros have no idea that these people were in love. They seem to believe everybody save Littlefinger, it seems, because of that smirk at the end of that clip. Bran probably because he could see the future past everything, that Rhaegar kidnapped and murdered her. So, you know, that's just been common knowledge for a very long time. Now it seems that in one fell swoop, that's getting thrown out the window. I'm going to show you one last clip that explains why that is and why the implications of this are huge if you didn't realize it.
Lord Stark?
I looked for you on the Trident.
And we weren't there.
Your friend, the usurper, would lie beneath the ground if we had been.
The Mad King is dead. Rhaegar lies beneath the ground. Why weren't you there to protect your prince?
Our prince wanted us here.
Where's my sister?
I wish you good fortune in the wars to come.
Ned?
Lyanna.
I've missed you, big mother.
Miss you too.
I don't want to die.
You're not going to die. Get us some water.
No, what did you
Is there a maester?
Listen to me, Ned. If Robert finds out that you're killer, you know he will. You have to protect him. Promise me, Ned. Promise me. Promise me, Ned. Promise me.
So you got it yet? You figure out why that Gilly revelation is huge? At the beginning of the scene, you see Ned Stark walk up to the Tower of Joy, where he finds Sir Arthur Dayne, who's the Kingsguard. He has a Targaryen sigil on his chest, and he asks him, how come you weren't there to protect your prince? His response is that the prince wanted us here. Why would the prince want the Kingsguard protecting his pregnant woman with a child? Unless that was his wife, and that child was the heir to the Iron Throne, and therefore needed the protection. Jon is a legitimate Targaryen because Rhaegar remarried in Dorne to a woman. They didn't say her name, but who else could it possibly be? This means that Jon Targaryen should be the next king of the Seven Kingdoms. By right. We can argue that like the Targaryens were ousted. We're using the same claim that Daenerys is using. Daenerys gets to the Iron Throne and they allow her to, like, that's like, oh, it's cool, you this is right, you're right, you should be queen. If you're using the same excuse, Jon has a better claim than her. The only son of the first son of the former king. So all that stuff like is out the window with Daenerys. So she's a sibling. She would have been, if her brother would have survived and become king, she would have never become queen, so it wouldn't have made a difference. Yeah, that's the huge revelation. It's crazy, guys. I don't know if you understand how crazy this is. Like, if you watched our reaction video, my wife Marilyn and I freaked out when we heard the words annulment because we knew right away what was going on. Like, we knew immediately that this was going to be huge. And the big questions that we're going to have going into these next episodes are going to be, what happens if Jon bends the knee? Does his claim all of a sudden not count anymore? Is it like he just forfeited his right to the throne? If they get married, it won't really make a difference, I don't think. So they'll just be king and queen, and that would be dope. So guys, thanks for watching. I'm going to try to make more videos. I'm going to make one about Littlefinger probably, and about like claims to the Iron Throne from the beginning of the show till now. Reactions are going to be coming out. So please look out for that. Subscribe, like, and share with your friends. And I will see you guys next time. Thanks for coming. Bye.